Welcome to the second version of the Murrieta Rock hike put on by the El Cerrito Trail Trekkers. The purpose of Trail Trekkers is to do what Berkeley Pathwanderers did in Berkeley, which is to take a network of existing right-of-ways and trails and to get more people to use them and to improve them. They're generally in pretty good shape, except for the ones that are totally invisible and can't be used at all, or can't be used without danger. So our goal as trekkers is to restore these by working on them ourselves, and or by getting the city to do them. Open space. We're going to be seeing two pieces of privately owned land today, which ought to be city parks. One is the most prominent rock in town, which in the old days you could see it from San Francisco. Today you can't see it even when you're standing in front of it. The other is a large piece of 15 acres with a creek, with trees, woods, adjacent to the city's major park, the Hillside Nature Area. Keep your eyes open. There are a lot of trails. I discovered a lot of trails just by walking around. Sometimes I would walk by this place dozens of times, and all of a sudden I would see a trail. So this is actually a city-owned right-of-way. In other words, the city owns that, and it could be made a trail. I don't know how. Neighboring town, Kensington, has an effort which is similar to ours, except they're actually doing things. They're building trails, and Bryce is the guy who's in charge of it.
We're building steps of a similar style to that in Kensington, and we have 14 right-of-ways. They're all 10 feet in width, but we have one big difference. Here, the city owns the paths, and in Kensington, it's unclear who owns them, because they were dedicated by the developer in 1912, and the county never accepted them.
Yeah, this is actually a conservation area all the way up to that first bridge. This hill here we're working on is probably the best natural hill, as far as natural vegetation left in El Cerrito right here. We have real high percentage of native grasses and other plants right here. I think the last count was about 14 species of local native grasses in here, which is, they don't even have that in the botanical garden. This is a really interesting feature right here. You see this collared mortar stone right here? Yeah. These are very unusual. There's none that I know of in the whole Bay Area, or anywhere for that matter. That kind of an oblong pecked shape right there, that's called a Pecked Circumlinear Nuclei in the trade, and or a Pecked circle. And that apparently ties this archaeologically into the oldest rocks of California. It goes back about 5,000 years. So as old as the shell mounds, basically.
Whoop. Those are all open space. They're owned by the East Bay Park District, Miller Knox Regional Park. Great place to go hiking if you haven't gone hiking up on those places.
But then the northern part is
look for where one fence ends of one property and one fence ends of the other. And there's a space between. But why is there a space between? Okay? To put this trail in, we'd have to either buy permission to use the guy's steps, or put in steps coming down here through this rock. The kind of trails that currently exist in town, but that a lot of people that don't live in the neighborhood don't know about. It's one of our goals with the map, and to do a network of trails showing how they all connect, and how you can do a walk like this and go from one place to the other, get more use out of these trails. This is the El Cerrito Trail Trekkers. We're trying to bring more attention to these trails.
Oh, is that what we call this path? Is a trail?
Yeah, come by your house. Well, more than that, it actually has a name. This is the Lagunitas to Tulare Trail.
Really?
Yes, it is. This is actually, there's a number of these trails in town that have 2 or 3 links. And that makes them more interesting, because that way you can actually use them to get from place to place. These were put in originally, especially in Berkeley, so that people could get to, trains and buses. Rather than walk round and round on these, streets that kind of twist and turn, you can go straight down the hill on these trails.
Well, they generally
Well, we have a corridor that was used for many years as an informal scramble, a big, steep, muddy hillside. Now we're going in and building stairs. And all of the neighbors love it. 2 of them come out to our work parties, and everybody's happy about it. But the very next segment down, was blocked for longer, and some of the neighbors have decided they would prefer that it become part of their property. Well, we think it's a little bit greedy to use land that you're not paying taxes on. So, this was a park. It was designated by the original developers.
Was it?
And it has trails that connect through it?
Yeah, although these trails should be improved. And it has a really beautiful trail that we're going to take in a minute that heads back up to Barrett Avenue. That'll be the 3rd time we've come to Barrett Avenue on this trip. We're getting kind of sick of that place.
Of course, the reason for that is that Barrett Avenue was seen as the transportation corridor. Most of these paths were transportation focused, so they were shortcuts to get to bus lines and anticipated cable car streetcar lines.
People were more into using public transportation streetcars back then. By the time this neighborhood was built, it was the 1950s. Okay? And I think that's one reason a lot of these things that were right-of-ways probably never got developed as paths. I mean, some of them did, and I think some were developed as paths and have since been abandoned, but I think a lot of them were just there as right-of-ways, and they were never used as paths.
Yeah, that's exactly what we have in Kensington. So they were designated when Kensington was subdivided, but Kensington didn't start to fill in with houses until 20 or 30 years later, after which streetcars and walking were seen as not very modern anymore.
And if those trees weren't there, it would really stand out. As I was saying, pictures in the old days, the thing becomes a landmark. You could tell exactly where you could see it from San Francisco.
It reminds me of a black chanterelle, but I'm not positive.
So you can start walking more or less in the southern part of town, walk all the way through the hillside area, on a trail, cross Potrero, get onto another trail, and walk up into the northern part of the hillside nature area. Well, what's going to happen to this land? I mean, obviously it needs to be open space. There's not a real lot of open space in El Cerrito. Wildlife habitat. Now, there are a number of trails that go up the hills here, and some of them actually are currently in use. But these are particularly interesting because they can be used for commuters getting to the BART station.